Would you like to know more about Pentax Medical's commitment to infection prevention? Read more about our hygiene commitment on our website.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome from Pentax Medical France in Argenteuil, close to Paris. I'm going to go through this very, very challenging topic. And yeah, so why reusable scopes? What is very, very important, and I'm glad that Professor Bruno mentioned it during the call this morning, because we're talking about hygiene. But overall, endoscopy is saving life. So it's about patient care. It's about screening. I mean, it's high definition screening in order to have the highest detection rate. Is to give the best technology to help the physician to characterize and ultimately to cure, so for the therapeutic. So just we have to put that in mind, that the driver of the endoscope is about this. Of course, reusable are part of an ecosystem that give us efficiency and also reduce cost, because everything is tied together in order to make the success. And what we do is that this ecosystem is supporting everybody to make sure that every single aspect is working into the right direction. Now let's look at the reusable endoscope journey, and especially on the hygiene factor. I mean, in Pentax Medical, we're not here only just to produce and sell endoscope. We want, by design, by the new devices, by the solution, by the accessories, in order to improve this journey and make it safer journey. So the single-use accessory for endoscopes are helping us to reduce the risk. The deck, which the disposable cap and disposable elevator, reduce dramatically the risk of contamination on the duodenoscope, and especially make the cleaning much easier, more efficient. The single-use valves also are removing a burden from the manual cleaning. We're talking about the brushes. Having our own brushes is also helping the cleaning to be as its best. And of course, we are working with devices. That means we're working with disinfection machine. We're talking this morning. Yes, we are very, very close to any independent manufacturer of those machines in order to improve the cycle and make sure the compatibility with our endoscopes. And last but not least, the Plasma Typhoon, which is our fast drying and active storage endoscopes. And all that is working in the same direction, being effective and being efficient to provide the best result. Now, let's go and I'll share my experience and how we do it in Pentax Medical France. What is very important first is that 4 or 5 years ago, we were just a repair center. We were repairing endoscopes, which is already pretty good work. But 4 years ago, we moved from a repair center into a hygiene center. And it's equally most important for us to make sure that what we get out of Pentax Medical is at the highest hygiene standard as possible. And the first thing, we assume that every endoscope that is getting in is contaminated. That means everything we're going to do after is taking this into account. The first thing that is very important for us, each endoscope we put in the market is completely tracked. So that means we know when it has been sold, and we know exactly what we have done during its entire life. We know exactly the spare parts we changed. We know exactly the complaints we had, the bacteriological samplings we had. We know everything about this endoscope, providing that is coming to us, of course. Then the first thing, we're going to clean it and to do the leakage stage. And after the leakage stage, what we're going to do is to dry. One of the good reasons is that the endoscope is going to be under water. And even if it is in the contract, we are going to repair it within 2 days. But within 2 days, if the endoscope stays wet, then again, it's food for microorganisms to grow, and we're going to have some nasty surprise. And of course, if we're waiting for a few weeks to get an estimate from the customer, it's even worse. So it's why drying after inspecting is very, very important for us. Repairing, nothing extremely drastic, except that all the working space is clean. There is no contact between the previous and the following scopes in order to make sure there is no potential cross-contamination. We have a high-level disinfection, and every endoscope that is getting out of our disinfector is dried. It's dried in plasma typhoon because it's fully automatic. It's reproductive there's no human factor. It's really same best result. Whatever the scope is and whatever it is in the morning, my tech is sick or is tired, it's reproducible. Then we move to the storage. Then the endoscope is put in the plasma bag, which the injection of ozone, which means that the environment around the endoscope is bacteriologically static, which means that even if the bag or the endoscope, which is unlikely to have some residual contamination, doesn't develop, it stays as it's getting in. And then it transports, and the food transport with the traceability, the dates, the proof that the drying and the storage are come to the right path. On the top of that, what we do, I say, we're not just a repair center. We also providing training programs and technical assistance to our customers. And we have a team of field application and service specialists that are visiting all our customers. And the journey starts when we install a new device, where basically we are going to help the local staff just to get their hands on those devices, to make sure they know how to reprocess, they need to clean, and they know everything about this. And of course, this not only one day and we give the message and we go. I mean, for new customers, every month, for at least the first 6 or 9 months we visit, we make sure everybody's trained, everybody's understood. And most often also we have to retrain staff, because it's one of the issue we have is a lot of turnaround into the staff. And we have also some programs like preventive maintenance program, like Safety Plus, which are really targeted at hygiene. That means we are checking the hygiene quality of those endoscopes, and with bacteriological sampling, then transporting and storage in plasma typhoon. Of course, what is very important for us is we're certified, we are audited yearly, multi-yearly, because we have our internal or external audits, and our ambition in Pentax Medical France, we have to proceed like you in the hospital. I mean, everything has to be controlled, has to be managed like an hospital. We are producing our own medical air that is controlled, and we are treating our own water system that we are checking every month. We are sampling our disinfection machines. We are tracking everything, and what we manage is to get a culture of permanent improvement in all the staff. And 4 years ago, when I joined this business, I visited some customers, and all the customers were telling me the same thing. Can you repair quicker? Can you repair quicker? Can you repair quicker? I said, oh, we're already 7 days for a minor repair and 15 for a major. I said, what's going on here? And scratching behind the surface, in France, I discovered that people were asking shorter repair time, because they're losing quite a lot of time in between receiving the endoscopes and being able to use it in the exam center. Just because in France, you need to get a correct bacteriological sampling when the scopes is coming in the hospital. So, and that in some area, it's getting difficult, and it's not the core process of the hospital, especially the small guys. They might have to do it once every quarter, something like that. And it's a real burden for them, and most of the time it's losing time, not efficient. So what we created in France is a scheme called Ready to Scope, where basically we are going to take care internally of the burden of making sure the scope is in a perfect bacteriological state to go into the exam room. Yeah, and how the process is working. First, the entire process. That means we're picking the endoscope from the customer, we're inspecting it, we are repairing it with our technician, and when the repair is done, we reprocess and we do the microbiological testing. Then, if the test is compliant, then we're going to dress the endoscope. And if we want to dig a little bit deeper into the process, is first, after the repair, we're going to do reinforced manual cleaning, and we'll have automated endoscope reprocessing as usual. Channel drying by plasma typhoon. Then the endoscope is going to wait for 12 hours before our microbiological lab is going to do the sampling, channel by channel. And then after the sampling, after the samples have been tested by our lab, automated reprocessing, drying plasma typhoon, and storage in the plasma bag, which guarantee that the result of the sampling is staying 7 days within the bag, because this bag, as said earlier, is thanks to the ozone, is in a static environment. The benefit of that is that of course, we are professional in doing this because this process is fully operational with us, and the volumes of this give us the best expertise and the best productivity. And that gives the possibility to the customer just to focus on what they have to do, is basically the medical examination. Yeah, now let's move to the most complicated things. Reusable endoscopes, disposable endoscope. We found a lot of things into the web. A lot of people are working some very, very good work, and a lot of analysis. I'm not here to tell you what is best or what is the truth, but to help you to see what you should look at. The first thing is about cost. I mean, cost is something very important, and even in a medical device. And you have to balance between the benefit on one side and the cost on the other side. And of course, it's single use, you will have reducing the reprocessing and the bacteriological control and the maintenance. But what about waste management? What about the supply chain? What about the risk? That means we're going to create a lot of waste, and in some places this is not pretty well done. So what about this? What about the second life of those products? The other aspect is more about the clinical and, let's say, the quality aspects. We do know that for the moment, the development of reusable is much better for the clinical application. And yeah, also the number of procedures, and especially the numbers of procedures compared to your install base. Because as was said this morning, very often we are starting to get into troubles when the install base is too short compared to procedures. It's when the effectiveness of the hygiene procedures is in the threat. Of course, what is your endoscopic and service organization, your resources? Because from one place to another, it's going to be different. And what is your environment impact? What is your concern? How deep do you want to drive and to reduce your environmental footprints? That could be different from one country to another, or from one place to another, or even from one doctor to another. What's going Sorry, it's going backwards. Hold on, I'm with you. Yeah, and I think what my message is, each site will have its own balance. And it's depending on your local environment, your patient, your condition, the truth is going to be slightly different. So you have to look at all those factors. And if I can give sort of a guideline, if you are in a contaminated high-risk patient with immunodepressed patient, it's obvious that single use will be a better solution to minimize the risk. Of course, if you're in ECU, if it is over the weekend when your reprocessing center is closed, single use might be very, very interesting rather than keeping a reusable for 2 days within a plastic container with all the germs doing a very nice party to develop. If you're more into the routine, that means your very well-equipped machines, your reprocessing center is working well, and reusable is really the best solution. And of course, if you're moving into therapeutics or in biliopancreatic exams, that means reusable are at the level of quality today. May not be the case in, 10 to 15 days, but you cannot do the same things with reusable and single use. And basically, the key message from me is that we'll have the choice. What is very, very important is please assess your environment, understand your strength, your weakness, your ability to spend money on capital expenditure, and then you will make the most appropriate decision. At the end of the day, the key message I will give is that reusable endoscopes have a lot of things to help into hygiene. In the last few years, we and the entire environment has worked very, very deeply in order to improve those reusable and to learn the lessons from the past and those cases we had before. So there's still a lot of rooms for improvement. There are some very important solutions that, for example, Paul mentioned with boroscopes. We are working and we're into a constant improvement process to make sure reusable are still the best solution with the best possible hygiene solution for you. Yeah, so thank you very much. Question time.
Thank you very much, Gilles. Public